Now let's switch our focus to the UK, and I'm joined on the desk by former Conservative Party staffer Mark Neeham. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Thank you, Chris.
December the 12th, Boris Johnson's got his wish. He's been trying to get an election up for a long while. This is an opportunity, not guaranteed of course, but a great opportunity just to get some clarity and certainty around Brexit and the whole political outlook in the UK.
Absolutely. We're finally here. We've finally got handing power back from Parliament to the British people to decide who's going to run the country and whether we get Brexit or not. We've had a referendum, we've had a general election, they're still not delivered, so we're finally here. But look, despite the lead in the polls, and it's on average about a 13-point lead in the polls over Labour, it's going to be a seat-by-seat battle. We've got the Conservative Party's got to win the Midlands, it's got to win the North. It's probably going to lose a few seats to the Liberal Democrats in London and the southwest, maybe the southeast of England. Scotland is another battle altogether. Brexit is not the issue that you would think that it is in England. Independence, the Scottish National Party, which are in government in Scotland, different set of issues. Brexit, it's another referendum on Brexit, but at the same time, other issues are going to play out, in particular cost of living, job security.
So there's no doubt, based on the polls and political history, that the Conservative Party, that Boris Johnson will win more seats than any other party at this stage. The question is, will he win enough to have a majority in his own right, or with a party that will back in his Brexit plan? And that's very much up in the air, isn't it?
It is up in the air. I mean, he needs to win 326 seats to get a majority. At the moment, he's on 298. So taking into consideration some possible losses, where's he going to end up at the end of this election campaign? The Democratic Unionist Party has 10 from Northern Ireland. Can the Conservative Party hold enough seats in Scotland, pick enough of those northern seats? My hometown of Mansfield voted Conservative for the first time in 2017. Will they hold on to that seat? It voted 75% Brexit in the referendum. They need to hold those seats and win other seats like it in the North and the Midlands.
Now, tell us about where everyone's lining up here. Obviously, Boris Johnson now is going for the deal he has negotiated with the EU. So if he forms a government, that's the deal he'll put in place to come into play in January. You've got Brexit parties and UKIP who are basically saying they just want a hard Brexit, no deal Brexit. They don't want to go through with Boris Johnson's plan. They want just a hard Brexit. You've got the Lib Dems who don't want to leave the EU under any circumstances. Where are Labor going to line up on this? Are they going to be Remain as well, hardline Remain?
That's the difficulty for the Labour Party. They went to the last election with a commitment they would deliver the result of the referendum. They haven't done that. Their policy now is to renegotiate another deal with the European Union, even though the European Union has said no more negotiations, no more deals, it's this or nothing. They say they're going to go and renegotiate, then they're going to put that to a referendum, which is a choice between that deal or stay in the EU. That's the Labour position. I think it's very confusing. You're going to have Labour Remain voters who they're going to switch to the Liberal Democrats, so they're going to boost that vote. Labour Leave voters are probably going to vote Conservative. These are people who feel abandoned by the Labour Party, once again pushing on these progressive issues that are so alien to many communities and these voters within the Labour heartlands, and then also not delivering on Brexit that they voted for.
Now, the other mistake I think that Labor might have made here is very similar to what Labor did in our federal election, and that is up against a government that's been racked by a bit of turmoil. Instead of putting a policy prescription that offers stability, they're going for a radical prescription, even away from the whole Brexit issue. They'll have radical climate, taxation and other policies.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the most left-wing Labour leader that I can remember. I mean, there was a few in the 70s, but it made them completely unelectable with Michael Foot and others like him. But it's not just Brexit this election. If Labour wins, firstly, on education, they're going to shut down every private and independent school and redistribute their assets to the public system and flood the public system with all those pupils. They're going to renationalise the railways, renationalise the electricity system, renationalise gas and water, renationalise public transport buses as well as the trains. This is a radical left-wing agenda that is just not going to... It will destroy the country. It will wreck the economy if implemented. So Brexit is one issue, but you've got all these hanging in the background if Labour were to win.
Now, a lot of MPs in the last 24 hours, 48 hours have said they're not contesting. It happens every election, I suppose. This is their chance to bow out. But a lot of them, this time, from the Conservative Party. Are they mainly people who have been opposed to Boris Johnson?
A lot of them have. A lot of them are Remainers, what are called the One Nation Conservatives. And One Nation in the UK is very different to One Nation here. One Nation in
One European nation.
One European nation. One Nation is the UK's more left-wing side of the Conservative Party.
So it's a bit like what we saw here with a lot of the moderates bowing out at the last election.
Absolutely. The Conservative Party is a broad church. It doesn't have factions like political parties in Australia. They have different people with different views. But look, it needs to appeal to that centre ground. A lot of those people are the ones that will appeal to people in the southeast of England, southwest of England, maybe London. They're probably not the right choice for the north, the Midlands. But look, it's sad to see some of them go. Some of them have been a pain in the backside of all leaders of the Conservative Party over the last few years, whether it be David Cameron, Theresa May or Boris Johnson. So some of them, it was time for them to go. Some are standing against the Conservative Party. Some of those 20...
As independents.
As independents. A couple have moved to the Liberal Democrats, which is quite a shift from supporting a party that said it was delivering the referendum to one that says it will reject the result of the referendum.
Now, just briefly, can I pin you down for a prediction? Is this Boris's moment? Is he going to deliver a majority and a clear Brexit?
I hope he will deliver a majority. I think when the choice is clear between Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn, that people will think...
So you hope, I hope as well. What do you predict?
I think it's going to be close. But I think at the end of the day, if they run a good campaign, and Darren Mott, the National Campaign Director, is a very experienced guy there running the campaign. If they run a good campaign, if Boris sticks to his message, he's proved he can win London, which is no easy task for a Conservative. He's proved he can win London. He can connect with the voters in a way that Jeremy Corbyn can't. They passed judgment on Corbyn at the last election. They looked, they didn't like, and they made their decision.
An extra question just occurs to me. Is Linton Crosby heavily involved in the campaign?
I'm not sure at this stage.
We'll wait and see. Check up on that. Thanks so much for joining us, Mark.
Thanks, Chris.
Mark Neeham there, who's worked for the Liberal Party in Australia and the Conservative Party in the UK. Of course, I was asking about the former Australian political mastermind, Linton Crosby, has been very, very active as an advisor in the UK. Find out exactly what his role is going to be in this election.